Monday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Today I got my favorite player prop, spread pick. Same game parlay coming your guys' way. My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. If you're new to our channel, go down below, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button too. And if you want to comment down below your favorite pick for this game, I'm curious what you guys like. Maybe I'll tail one of you guys out there. Now, I will recap how all of our plays did on Sunday. We'll recap that in next week's video. But before I hop into my favorite plays, today is a monumental day as Calling Our Shot merch is finally here. We got a quarter zip in a couple different colors. We also got a t-shirt, which I have right here. It's pretty cool. We like it, a t-shirt. We got the cool Calling Our Shot logo. We also have a hat dropping on the channel, all on callingourshot.com. If you want to go check it out, you want to support the channel and buy any of it, rock the Calling Our Shot merch, go for it. You can at least check out the designs. If you ever have a cool design, you're like, we should put this, well, you guys should put this on the store. Let us know. We'll try to make your idea or dream come to fruition. It's at callingourshot.com. It'll be the top link in the description. I know you guys have been asking for merch a ton, so it's finally here. Quarter zip, t-shirt, and hat. We'll have some cool ideas coming in the future. But if you want to show some love, callingourshot.com. You can go do that. It should be live later on Sunday night. So it should be live by the time you're watching this video. Let's hop into my favorite player prop for this game, though. We're going to Colts quarterback Matt Ryan. Take his over 232.5 passing yards, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, I'd play this up to 240.5, and I'm hopeful that we'll see Matt Ryan cruise over this line pretty easily. Now, let's talk about the Colts, though, and I'll have my spread pick in a second. But in two starts under Jeff Saturday, we've actually seen Ryan go under in both those two games. We saw him end with 222 and 213 passing yards. So it's not necessarily like he's going way under, but he has gone under in both two games. I think he goes over in this one. Now, you look at those two games. They're against the Raiders and the Eagles. Now, the Eagles have a great secondary. The Raiders' secondary is all right, but both those two teams have really bad run defenses. And at least the Eagles' run defense isn't the worst in the league, but it's not very good. It's much worse than their secondary. So we saw Jeff Saturday and the Colts offense kind of lean on Jonathan Taylor a little bit more than they might on normal weeks. And they gave it to him, 22 rushing attempts in both the last two games. And while they'll still run it with Jonathan Taylor, the weakness of the Steelers' defense is their secondary. We saw Joe Burrow throw for over 350 yards last week. The Steelers' defense is actually decent on the ground, only allowing the 7th fewest rushing yards in the league, the 5th fewest rushing yards per carry. So they've been pretty good stopping the run. And while Jonathan Taylor will still get his, their secondary can't say the same. The secondary has stunk this year. They actually are giving up the 2nd most passing yards in the NFL, the 3rd most yards per attempt, and 8 of 10 quarterbacks to face the Pittsburgh Steelers have hit this over. The only two guys that went under were Jacoby Brissett and Andy Dalton. Look, I think Matt Ryan's a little bit better than both those two guys. He's obviously been around in the league for a long time, and I think the Colts are going to take advantage of this secondary. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Steelers biting early on play action. So we could see a lot of play action out of a guy like Matt Ryan, who's done that all his career. And I think we're going to see Matt Ryan have some good chances to get over, get some good deep pass attempts. I mean, I like all the Colts pass catchers. I actually think Alec Pierce has a pretty good game. He had like 8 targets last week, couldn't do anything, and the books don't have a line for Alec Pierce right now, so that probably means he has a pretty good game. But either way, I do think Matt Ryan has a pretty good game. He has hit this over in 5 of 9 games. Obviously, he didn't start in 2 of the games in there, but I think he goes to 6-10 on Monday Night Football. I think he shows up 232.5 passing yards. Not really, the high line like a 275 that maybe some other quarterbacks get. I think Matt Ryan has the weapons out there. He has the tight ends. He has Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Paris Campbell, and Jonathan Taylor out of the backfield can get it done too. I really like Matt Ryan. Over 232.5 passing yards. We'll take that minus 115 on DraftKings. You can play it up to around 240.5. Now, for my game pick, I don't really like any over or under in this one, so I'm actually going to go with the Colts minus 2.5. Currently minus 107 on points bet. You could go with the money line, but I'd rather just take the points. I mean, I don't want to lay minus 140 on Colts money line. And when we look at both these two teams, they're about as inconsistent as it gets. Some weeks you're like, oh, this is a pretty decent football team. The next year you're like, ew, this is disgusting. And I think the Colts show up. They're at home. And while the Colts don't necessarily play the best as a favorite, I think they can get it done here. And, they're 4. Let's look at the Colts first, their schedule. I mean, they're 4-6-1. Since firing Frank Reich the last 2 games, they've at least showed a little bit of promise. I mean, they obviously beat the Raiders on the road. And then last week, they could have and probably should have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles, but ended up losing by 1 point. And Jeff Saturday never lost against the spread as a head coach. He's 2-0 against the spread, and while hopefully that goes to 3-0, obviously a lot of people might have criticized the decision to hire him, but he's looked pretty decent. They've at least been in. They obviously beat the Raiders, and they were in that Eagles game. They probably should have won. Now, the Steelers on the other side, they're 3-7, and Mike Tomlin's streak of never having a losing season is in jeopardy. This team has not been very good, and they've been even worse on the road. I mean, they haven't played a road game in nearly a month. The last one was October 30th, and that was a road game against the Eagles that they lost 35-13. Now, well, this isn't necessarily, them other fans don't have to travel too far to go to Indianapolis. Still, there's fans are going to travel, but this is still a road game. This is Kenny Pickett, obviously a first-year starter, having to start on the road in Lucas Oil Stadium. Not the easiest place to play in, and the Steelers lost 4 straight road games. Their only road win was the first game of the season against the Bengals, and this Colts defense is legit. If you never watched them play, they're pretty good. They're a good unit. 3rd in total yards allowed, 6th in passing yards allowed, 12th in rushing yards allowed. Would not be surprising if we see Najee Harris, the star running back for the Steelers, have a bad day. He's had 2 good games. I don't know if they continues that streak. Now, the Colts do have a couple defensive guys that might be out. I believe Kwity Paye is out, but DeForest Buckner had a full practice session on Friday, should be ready to go and should be active for this game. And he's a big one. He controls the line of scrimmage, especially defensively for this Colts front. So he should be out there. I think the Colts have the better offensive and the defensive line is questionable, as obviously they don't have TJ Watt on their side, but the Colts offensive line should be able to handle that, and I just don't really trust the Steelers to be able to move the ball consistently against a very good Colts defense, very good secondary, and I rather trust the Colts team that I think is a little bit more talented with the more veteran QB. I know they got Jeff Saturday, and obviously Mike Tomlin has years of experience on him as a head coach, but I like the Colts minus the 2.5 points. I think they get it done. We'll take Colts minus 2.5 as my spread pick for this game. And as for my same game parlay, 5 legs plus 509 odds. I'll put the legs up on the screen. Last Monday night, we were James Conner like 8 rushing yards away from it in a plus 1,200. I'm going a little bit more conservative here, but here are my 5 legs. We obviously have already talked about Matt Ryan, 200 plus passing yards. I think he can get that done. I think he's done that in 9 of 10 starts. I think his only start he ended with like 180 or 170 something. Then Michael Pittman Jr., his number 1 receiver, 50 plus receiving yards. I looked at his over regular, he's like 62.5 to 66.5. Pittman gets close to that line frequently. Problem is he's, some games he finishes right a couple yards short. I thought the line was a little bit sharp. I don't mind his regular over because I think he has to hit that, but I do have a good chance that he gets 50 plus receiving yards. Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown. This is a little bit juiced on Bucks for good reason. When they get in close and when they're far away, Jonathan Taylor can take it to the house. They're also going to lean on him when it's 1st and goal on the 1, 2, 3. Then you have the ball to him. And I know the Steelers have a good rushing defense, but Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the league, he can do it also in the air, catch a pass and take it into the end zone. So I really like Jonathan Taylor. I think he ends up in the end zone. And then 2 Steelers wide receivers and a tight end. We have Pat Freiermuth, 40 plus receiving yards. I've talked about time and time again, the Colts have a good secondary, but sometimes they give up yards to opposing tight ends. And, Kenny Pickett's really looking for Pat Freiermuth. And I think he had like 9 receptions last week. Every time that he's been at least active and at least finishes the game and doesn't get injured, Freiermuth normally has a pretty decent game. I was looking at his longest reception. The Colts haven't been great against tight ends so far this season. So Pat Freiermuth, if I had to do another player prop, probably be his over in receiving yards. But 40 plus feels like a high line for a tight end, but he gets a lot of targets and he's probably got the best matchup for any Steelers guy running routes out there. And then George Pickens, 25 plus receiving yards. You could switch him out with Deontay Johnson. I think Pickens has the easier matchup personally. If he's going to be out there, I think they'll put Stephon Gilmore of the Colts, their cornerback, probably on Deontay Johnson. Either way, Pickens can do this in 1 reception. This is a guy that's 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and go up and catch, moss up other guys. George Pickens is going to see, 5, 7 targets. And if the Colts are the Steelers are trailing in this game, obviously you have to throw it a little bit more. I think the targets are there now that Chase Claypool's in Chicago. I like George Pickens to have a pretty decent day. 25 plus receiving yards. Look, that's like half of his current line, which is like 43.5. So 5 legs plus 509 odds. Sign me up. So that's my SGP. That's my player prop. That's my game pick. Just a reminder, the Colin or Shot merch, the quarter zip is out. It's had the hat. It's out. I think it's white and black is the other color variation. And of course, we have the Colin or Shot t-shirt. COS, Colin or Shot. Look, if you guys want to show some love, send me your pictures. If you buy some merch, send them to me on Twitter. Send it to my email, austin@colinorshot.com. I'll show you guys in a video if you really want me to. That'd be awesome. Appreciate you guys as always for all the love and support. It's cool that we have merch finally live, but let's keep it going. Let's have some bounce back days. We'll have a great one tonight. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.